Hey there, it is Faith Talk Today. I'm Rick Probst. Hey, welcome to another great weekend. I don't know if you can feel it or not. Well, I do know because you're probably here in Atlanta, but it's feeling fall-like. Now, I don't know what Colorado feels like at this point, but we'll ask Lisa Anderson in a second. Lisa is one of our favorite guests, and she is the director of young adults and the host of the Boundless Show for Focus on the Family. Boundless has been around 25 years, but the show for 15. We want to talk about that. They just celebrated by having, I think, episode 815 or 16. We'll dig into that and what's on Lisa's mind. And there's a lot of mind to talk about with Lisa. Lisa, how are you?
I am doing well, although I'm going to take issue. I thought I was your favorite guest, Rick, not just one of. So if you could clarify that, I'd appreciate it. So,
all right, Ezra, my producer. Thank you, Ezra, for producing. And could you scratch that part of the tape? And what we'll do is we'll dub in my favorite guest,
exactly,
Lisa Anderson.
Much
we
better.
Always love what you're all about, and we love your sarcasm too. You're so close to our heart. But you mean business. All right, we've got a little bit of time, and I want to cover so much with you. 8:15, and you said, 15 years ago. In fact, I went through Apple Music, where your podcast is. It's on so many venues, right? So many platforms. But I went all the way back to the beginning, 2008, and which is really cool to see the response of people. And not just one demo. I noticed that it's not just single folks listening to the Boundless Show, which, by the way, you can hear here at Faith Talk Atlanta. But if you listen to it in podcast, you've got married guys with kids, you've got single ladies, you've got older people, not quite as old as me, but you've got older people listening and really getting a lot out of the Boundless Show. And still, does that surprise you, Lisa?
In a way, I mean, it's so great that we have so many different folks in our sphere. But I think, to your point, Rick, it's like, parents of young adults, because they're like, I need to understand my 20-something because we can barely even have a conversation on the same level. So there's some of that there, but also because we're squarely in that young adult demographic. I always say, I mean, we have so many single young adults in our sphere just because of the age group, but also engaged, married young adults as well. So because we talk about such a breadth of issues, so that makes it really fun and we're able to mix it up a lot.
Now, I think back in June, you celebrated number 800. Was that a milestone for you? Did you do anything special, or you said, okay, onward to 1,000?
We celebrated it. We have to mark all the milestones, but we knew that our 25th anniversary of the Boundless Ministry as a whole was coming up now in September. And so we definitely are marking that this month. I mean, if you can believe it, Rick, I actually did. I have hosted the show from the beginning. I was not the founder of Boundless. That started before me, but I've been here since the show's inception. My first line hosting the Boundless Show was, I'm Lisa Anderson and I'm contemplating getting a gun. And so that really set the stage for where we've gone since then, for good or ill. I'm not sure, but
I think that's why I like the rawness of the show. And 15 years later, you're talking about stuff. I mean, I've got some of this written down. You probably wouldn't have talked about this 15 years ago, about gay friends and how to respond to them, and also pornography in the church, et cetera, and reform or recovery, I guess I should say. But you've covered so many over the years topics that people needed. And that's why, and I'm going to brag about you a bit. I mean, I counted the stars pretty much 9 out of, if you put it on a scale out of 10, 9 out of 10 were 5 stars. There was a couple of ones that, and I read them just for giggles. And I thought, oh my God, this is just ridiculous. Why even take the time to write and put on 1 or 2 stars? Give me a break. But, that shows the depth and the content of the show. 5 stars. I mean, unless you're paying these people, and then, hey, 5 stars. What's 5 stars worth? But it's just good stuff that you guys have been doing over the last 15 years. And you continue. Love the format. It's not just Lisa talking. It includes Lisa talking because she has a lot of good stuff to say. but she brings experts in and just regular folks, and they talk about the stuff that matters really most to us. And I love this, matters much to our young adults. I'm the father of three men from 34 to 21. And, there are times I have no clue, Lisa. I really, really don't, because had been exposed to things that, we weren't exposed to back in the 70s or the 60s when I was in school. And I want to handle them right, correctly, Christ-like, just like the gay thing. And I'm going to bring that up. In episode, I think it was 815, you said, or maybe 13, how to respond when your gay friends ask you to affirm their choices. That one makes me sweat, not because, well, it's okay. How do I respond to this? Thank you for covering this, because you're not trying to sweep it under the rug. You want to give a truthful, Christ-like answer, but you want to love in the same sense. And isn't that really the same thing, I think? What do you think about that?
Yeah, and that's where it's so difficult, because this is where, I often say, looking back on the 15 years of the show, 25 years of Boundless, um, this is where we have come to a point in our culture, Rick, where we can no longer just offer platitudes for the things that are facing young adults today. I mean, you can't, like back, like you're saying, in the 60s, where everyone kind of mostly believed in God and you had some commonalities, some common ground for addressing issues. Now it's just open season. And so when it comes to gender identity, sexuality, all of that, Christians are the outliers here. And so young adults need to have the gospel at play in how they're going to address this. They need to understand. And so many of them, they're like, Lisa, what do I do? Because it's my sister who's gay,
Yeah.
or it's my best friend, or I've just been invited to a coworker's wedding. And so we're trying to say, what does it look like to respond as Jesus would, to love people where they are, to realize that we're all sinners, we're all in need of a savior, but at the same time, to stand for biblical truth in a culture that really doesn't want to do that on any level. And so that's what we're trying to do, is put the words and the tools to play of like how to have this conversation, how to do it well, how to not lose your mind over the differences and the frustrations in the process. And I think young adults are here for it, because they know that they're not going to be able to survive otherwise.
Love that. Lisa Anderson, host of the Boundless Show. You can hear that here at Faith Talk Atlanta. You do cover so many topics. And I think I've asked you this before. I don't remember, because you've been on so many times. But do you have your calendar out and you're writing in every square what we're going to talk about next? Or does something just pop up, or maybe a little of both? Something just pops up and you think, you know what? I really need to dig into this. I think the public needs to, my listeners, my viewers, need to know more about this, and then you go full tilt boogie and dig into it. How does it work for you?
It's a little bit of both. And really, I would say that it's a heavy dose of the Holy Spirit as well, because I am completely amazed at how many times we will put out a show and we're kind of like, oh, we heard about this topic, or maybe this author has a new book and we want to showcase that. We want to talk to them about their topic. And then we'll hear from someone on the show that week who is like, that was exactly what I needed to hear. Wow. I mean, I just heard from a girl not too long ago who said, Lisa, I left an abusive relationship because of what I heard on the Boundless Show. Wow. I didn't even know I was in an abusive relationship until you put words to it and were able to help me wake up and understand, like, this is not okay, what I'm dealing with. And so I would say we keep a finger on the trends. We see what young adults are talking about. What are they struggling with? I straight up talk with young adults in my church and at work. I'm just like, hey, what's going on? What are your friends talking about? What does this look like? Then we'll have people proactively contact us. So sometimes, it might be an author or a theologian or some kind of newsmaker who's kind of talking about something big. And we want to always showcase expertise and mentors in this space that we can kind of give a platform to let them speak to our audience. And then, of course, as you know, the last segment of our show is what we call the inbox. And that's where we just answer listener questions. And so those come straight from the mouths of those who are walking it out every day. So it makes for a good mix.
Those never get old, do they? When you start answering because I mean, I'm sure you're used to the questions of sorts, but bringing those in, I think it just brings life to what you're doing. It's almost like the icing on the cake, at least for me. Lisa, Anderson, the host of the Boundless Show. We've got to go in just a couple of minutes. Lisa, always good to have you. Lisa is a part of Focus on the Family. She is the director of young adults and the host of the Boundless Show, 15 years now. Lisa, 15 years. Somebody do the new math. I don't know where we'll be as far as the year's concerned since I'm 63, but 15 years from now, if you're doing the show, what will it sound like? The same?
Oh my goodness. What will it sound like? I'm not sure if I need to be doing this show in 15 years, Rick. I think maybe you and I can tag team it then. We can do a version of it that would be very entertaining, I think, from some form of, I don't know, assisted living place or whatever. We'll see how it goes. But I would say we will just see where the culture is at that point, and hopefully what the meat of what we share as far as the gospel and its application to everyday life is going to stay the same. But I think of man, when we started the show, it was like, or think of back to the beginning of Boundless. I'll say this. There was no online dating then. There were no dating apps. Mm-hmm. There was not the level of mental health struggle, anxiety, depression, suicide rates that there are today. This was before 9/11. Many in my audience now weren't even born at 9/11. And so they haven't grown up in an era without knowing a present terrorist threat. And so it's changing, and we're trying to be here to meet it and to talk about the things that really matter. I'm trying to stay relevant. There's only a certain number of Gen Z terms that I can keep up with. It's very exhausting, Rick. It's a full-time job, but I try to be as that fun, cool older aunt at this point. So we'll see if I can keep doing that for a little bit longer.
That's why God invented Google. Thank you very much. Lisa Anderson, the host of the Boundless Show. I'm going to hold you to that, doing a show together. I've got an idea. It's called, Hey Kids, Get Off My Lawn.
Nice.
That's going to be my show, no doubt. And you'd probably better off if you just stay away from this career.
That sounds very welcoming and inviting, Rick. I appreciate that's fabulous. You'll reach many with that.
Lisa Anderson, a part of Focus on the Family, the Boundless Show. Catch it. You hear it here at Faith Talk Atlanta, and check out the episodes in podcast form. And you can listen to all the old Boundless shows. Good stuff. Lisa, thank you so much. We look forward to talking to you again. Well, that's it. And it's always good with Lisa. Listen to our show again on podcast form. You can watch it as well on the YouTube. How about that? That's pretty cool. And next week, we're going to have another great show. So until next week. Oh, by the way, thank you, Ezra Ortiz, my producer, for another stellar show. Until next week, I'm Rick Probst. See ya.